time has come to fulfill my destiny and see The Last Jedi. That was such a corny intro. I'm probably not even going to keep it. What's up, guys? Kalen here. Just sharing my thoughts on The Last Jedi. All decked out, got the shirt. Just literally saw it last night. I'm going to give a little bit of backdrop though, because I like to do that with every movie. So I saw it last night at 7 with a couple friends in Spring Hill, and just watched the whole thing, loved it. And then I was on my way home, and my dad, I called my brother because him and my dad were gonna go see a movie, to see the movie at like 10:45 in Franklin, and I was like, "Yo, you're not gonna believe how good this thing is, awesome." And he was like, "Okay, well, dude, do you want to see it again?" And I said, "Of course I'd love to see it again. Like, I'd go right now." And he said, "Well, the dude that was going to come with me and Dad couldn't make it, so we have an extra ticket." And so I was like, hell yeah, boy. So I headed over there. We went and saw it again. Like, I saw back-to-back viewings, man. I went straight from one theater to the next. Trust me when I say that my thoughts, I've had time to process it. I've had 2 viewings to kind of get my mind around it. So this is pretty on point with the thoughts that I have. And I haven't watched any other reviews or seen what anybody else has said, so this is purely off of what I felt going through it twice, back to back. So let's just talk about just kind of coming off of Force Awakens, kind of the things a lot of people were expecting and wanted. Because one of the biggest criticisms that I heard of Force Awakens was the fact that the storyline was so close to A New Hope that it was just like too much to just kind of put it aside. It was like, yeah, you're just dipping a little too far into that nostalgia. And I agree with that. But for me, and I said this in my review of that as well, and it's on my channel, I enjoyed it nonetheless. I still appreciated everything else that was happening at the time. So, and I still do today. Like I watched it last night again before going to see the movie, just to kind of get familiarized with the storyline, the plot. And so, yeah, watching it again, I was like, yeah, I got problems with it, no doubt. But I don't care. Like, I still love it. So that's kind of how I see that one. And not everybody's going to be on the same page. I get that. Some people were really, really disappointed. Some people were just like, whatever. I was kind of one of those people that was like, whatever. Disappointed, yes, but it's not going to ruin my enjoyment of the movie. But I will say this. Coming out of it, I was like, all right, from this point forward, y'all gotta go off. You cannot be pulling story points and plot points from other previous, at least to the degree that people are gonna be like, oh man, this is just a total ripoff. So with Last Jedi, there was a lot of pressure to not repeat the same pattern of just going back and resurfacing old material. And so without spoiling anything, because I want this to be spoiler free, did it do that? I think so, dude. I really do. I've seen it twice, and yeah, there are points and situations and certain, I feel like coming into it, you'd expect, man, this is just gonna be another Empire Strikes Back, because everything at the end of everything at the end of Force Awakens, would lead you to think, well, the only logical way to take this story would be for them to follow the same steps as Empire Strikes Back. They had a great victory against the First Order. The First Order will come back and try to fight back and dominate, and then the rebels or the resistance are going to be put in a really uncomfortable position of having to be man, we're really getting our asses handed to us. And then on the other side of the planet, of the galaxy, you got Rey training with Luke because she is there, and so that they got that going on. So there's just all this potential for the storylines to really begin to kind of mesh. But the thing that Ryan did that I noticed between 2 viewings is that there are a lot of points where you're like, oh, they're going to go this direction, they're going to do this, and they don't. And it's like, oh man, I really, the trailers led me to believe this is the way that would go, and it didn't go that way. Even the title, man, I didn't really know what to expect from the title, because you think, man, finality, are they really trying to end this now? And it just kind of surprises you. You're like, oh man, wow, that's really cool. It's a cool way to kind of, the title makes sense. It's not like Attack of the Clones. It actually makes sense. Or even The Phantom Menace, I guess, is a better example. It's not just some title that's just put on it just to get people oh my gosh, what does that mean? And not really explored at all. It actually is explored, and it makes sense. So I'm gonna get to characters now. I think I've covered that pretty well without giving away too much. Returning characters were really good. I loved what they did with Carrie Fisher, Oscar Isaac. There was some friction in their relationship that I really appreciated in this one because I didn't see that coming. And who else? I should have gone through the names at least to know who I was talking about. The woman from Jurassic Park, and she plays the kind of like the leader character in this one. She was awesome. And there's a scene, I can't give away too much, but she just does something really badass that had the theater silent. And so I'm gonna leave it at that. Definitely appreciated her character. Didn't know how to feel about her initially, but you see through some of her decision making, it's like, okay, I'm with you. And on that note, Luke, yeah, man, we get more Luke in this movie for sure. There's dialogue for once, and I think he was handled very, very well. One of the things I'm always concerned with these movies is like I hope they don't feel too displaced from their original trilogy, because we're talking about years of time that have we've gone through so many years since The Empire Strikes Back, since Return of the Jedi, and a lot's happened in the Star Wars universe, a lot's happened in the film universe, like just film in general, and you just wonder to yourself, man, is that gonna like depreciate certain, like, will it not feel as organic, or will it not feel cohesive? And this one really did feel cohesive. I was like, man, this does really feel like it connects back to those movies. Not that Force Awakens didn't, but I just feel like this one did even more. Maybe because it included Luke, I don't know. But yeah, Luke was in it. He was really good. There's a really cool ass fight. It's not really a fight so much. It's kind of like a little skirmish, I guess, that takes place, and that was really sick. What they did with that was awesome. Everybody in my theater was just like losing it. What else? Rey, really good, dude. Just as solid as she was in the last one, I think. Yeah, I don't think there was anything necessarily new for as far as acting and performance that she did in this one that she didn't do in the last one. So big ups to her. Finn, same as always, solid, funny. I had a conversation with a guy not too long ago from my school. We were just talking about what he was talking about, some of the things he didn't like about Force Awakens, and he was like, Finn was one of those things. He said he was really loud and obnoxious, and he was trained as a stormtrooper, so he shouldn't really have a personality the way he does. And I was like, yeah, but he's likable. So we kind of had this disagreement. But for me, I loved this one. For instance, I was really glad that they tied it into the fact that he was a stormtrooper previously, and so he had some information they needed to know about like the First Order, and he offered some kind of insight and thoughts into like, hey, we should do this. This should be our plan because I know how this thing works, and so that was cool to see. So because it would have been really easy for him to kind of become expendable because he doesn't really have the ability. Like he's not a really great pilot like Poe. Doesn't have the Force sensitivity that Rey has, so it would have been really easy for him to kind of fall back, but he doesn't, and he's very much a really instrumental part of the story. And he and this the Asian girl, I can't remember her name, she plays Rose in the movie, but Rose and Finn's character, they are together a lot in the movie, and they do some pretty cool stuff. I think she did alright. She was pretty good. They didn't give her a whole lot to work with, but I think she did well. Like I appreciated her character, and there's some pretty cool scenes between her and Finn that were really well appreciated. Who else? Poe Dameron. I like what they did with Poe, man. They explore kind of his more unorthodox way of kind of getting things done. Like I said, there was friction between him and Carrie Fisher. As General Leia Organa, there was definitely friction between them, and I liked seeing that explored. Just different decisions about battle tactics and the cost of war. I love the fact that they explored that. That was not what I expected. There were just a lot, let me say this, there were just a lot of moments in this movie where I was like, man, like big ups, because that's not what I was expecting at all. Ryan wasn't lying when he said that he just kind of basically, all the things that fans had kind of rumored and all the fan rumors and theories that had come out were all bullshit. Because like he went through and just said, all right, y'all think this is what we're doing? We're not doing any of that. And so I think I've covered it. Oh, Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren, dude. Like Rey, I think he does much of the same thing that he did in the last one, but they do some interesting things with his character in this one. With Rey, like him and Rey, that I'm just like, dang, dude, that's crazy how they pulled that off. And let me bring it to Snoke as well. You really get to see Snoke for real, not just a hologram. And he works really well, dude. I think the animation was done a little bit better on this time, because it just wasn't as distracting when he was on screen. I bought into the character more, and the writing on his character was really excellent. That's another thing about this movie was there's some really nice pieces of dialogue that are just really like, man, that's solid, you know? And that was really a breath of fresh air. Not that Force Awakens didn't have that, and I don't want to make this feel like a comparing it to Force Awakens thing, but I'm just saying, like I said, when you watch Force Awakens, a lot of the issues they had, you're just like, man, it's really on The Last Jedi now to kind of pick up and correct a lot of those errors. And I'm just talking about the errors that I saw that were kind of corrected in this one. So, yeah, man, all the characters handled very well. It didn't feel like it was helmed by a different director. It felt like this could have been J.J. Abrams again. However, there were certain sequences and certain portions that felt like, yeah, that's a little different. That's not what I would have expected. But all in all, man, I think it really did feel cohesive. It didn't feel like it was helmed by a different director. Even the script felt like it could have been JJ. Because I'm always concerned about that. Like, is it gonna feel like the same? It's like in the same universe. It's the same people. It did, and if nobody knew that it wasn't JJ, they would assume it's the same person. So, yeah, that was cool. I think I've covered about everything I wanted to say without giving away too much. Is it better than Force Awakens? Hell yes. Because, like I said, it just does it. All the things it had to do, it did, and did some more. And when I came out of it, I can't think of any issues I had. Because there were sometimes I was like, man, where are they going with? Like, there were portions, it does get a little slow at parts, and there are portions where you're like, man, where are they going with this? Because it has to be important, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't be including it right now. And every time I had that question, they would bring it back later on in the movie, and it'd be like, oh, okay, that's why that was there. That's why that was so important. And to the people, there are going to be still comparisons, like people saying, man, it's too much like Empire. Whatever, man. Like, I don't see that, but if you do, big ups to you. I thought it did what it needed to do. It took enough twists and turns, and it really, I left the theater really excited. I can't wait to see how they bring it home in 2 years, I guess, when the last movie of the trilogy comes out. And yeah, dude, I just had a really good time. Yeah, the reason I'm kind of like, is 'cause I just woke up, and like the last thing that was on my mind last night was this movie, so I'm still kind of trying to process everything that I saw. But I think those are my thoughts. If I had to give it a rating, I mean, I'd say this was really great. Like, this was, man, I don't know. I can't try to remember my rating scale. Tell you what, I'm not gonna give it yet. But when I figure out what my rating scale is, I will find where I am on it, and I will let you guys know. So, peace.